I remember every time you chose to not remember. Every weekend smile you tried.
Many have tried, many have failed, struggle and strive, I still prevail, me and my comp ain't on the same boat. If they think they still on deck, it's cause my ship is sailed, feel I'm chosen, determined, and I'm devoted.
It is another beautiful day in gorgeous New York City. So yeah, in today's topic, I want to talk about how I make my vlogs look just like movies. Ah, my goodness, it is beautiful here. And to answer that question, to be honest with you, I thought of this yesterday when somebody asked me, like, what are you shooting with? Because your stuff look like movies. And yeah, the gear has something to do, but not a lot. So I want to get into everything that it takes for me to make my vlogs look like movies. Everything from the gear that I use to techniques that I often use that make my stuff look a little bit more like movies. Let me get a little bit more of a closer shot. So I'm gonna set it up right here so that we can have a conversation before I go home. It is freezing, so let's do this really quick. Woo! Freaking cold. Let's talk about gear for a second. And the gear is not really, I don't know, that important, but it is a little bit important. So, for vlogs, almost every big creator, they use kind of like the same gear. They use the Sony FX3 is the most popular one. Maybe the ZV-1, which essentially has like the same sensor but on a smaller camera body. So it is a very, very popular choice for a very good reason. Autofocus. It is a great camera to use autofocus on. When you're filming yourself, you are going to need that autofocus, Autofocus, not out of focus. And it is very nice. I think the problem with it is that essentially a lot of people, they do buy the same gear. They buy an FX3 with Sony lenses. They look super sharp and stuff like that, and that's all good and great, but I go with a different formula because I like to stand out. So I'm using the Blackmagic 6K full frame, which is a lot cheaper than that, probably like $1,800 cheaper than the FX3. And in my humble opinion, it is a much better camera. At least a much better cinema camera than the FX3 is. The FX3, you can make movies with it. They shot the Creator movie with it. But, if you look at the lenses they use, whew, those were not cheap lenses, So, I'm using the Blackmagic 6K full frame. And the magic behind the look is actually the vintage lens that I'm using. I'm using a Mirror 1 f2.8 37 millimeter, and it's a lens from 1958 from the Soviet Union, back then when it was actually the Soviet Union. And what I like about this lens is the character that it produces. It produces a nice uh, background blur that is very creamy and vintage like, you know, and I love it. In a lot of movies, if you watch a lot of movies, you're going to notice that a lot. They do use a lot of vintage glass. They use Panavision lenses and stuff like that. Those are, forget it. I don't think they even sell those. They rent them, I think. And even if they did sell those, it would be a whole lot of money. So the closest to that on a budget would be a really old vintage lens like the one I'm using, which I spent like about $180. Then with taxes would be like $200, and it came straight from Ukraine, which is great. And that is giving a really movie-like feel to my vlogs, you know. You seen the image that I get with this setup. But remember, it's not just the gear. You got to know how to use the gear. So you got to learn the fundamentals first before you even look into gear. But if I was you, I would sacrifice autofocus, which this camera is not great at autofocus. I would sacrifice it for the image that I'm looking for, you know? And it is always great to learn how to manually focus, to be honest with you. And that has benefited me a lot. You know, I came from the GH5, so that wasn't a great camera for autofocusing. So, you know, I had nothing to lose, so I gave the Blackmagic 6K a try, which Blackmagic sent it to me a while ago for me to test it and send it right back, so it's not even my camera. But they convinced me that this is the best camera for me. And look, don't buy what I'm telling you to buy. Don't actually buy anything. Do your own research. You know, find out what kind of shooter you are. I don't care about autofocus, so I'm gonna manually focus with everything. I bought a vintage lens for that reason, because I don't really care about autofocus, and vintage lenses have no autofocus. This lens is from 1958, so imagine, like, there was no autofocus technology. Look at the doggy. Yeah, we got a dog behind me. He's looking at what I'm filming right now. But anyways, that is the gear that I use. But something more important is the knowledge that I have gathered through the years. And I'm going to tell you things that are more important for you to get that cinema look in your vlogs. And it's actually techniques that are easy for you to learn and use and apply to your own vlogs. And they don't require any money, which is the great thing. The gear is just a small part of it, but what I'm gonna tell you now is much better. But dude, let's go home because it's freaking cold right now, man. Boom. So we're back at it. This is actually like 2 or 3 days later. I was not feeling like making this video, so I took a little bit of a break. My bad. You're still not affected by this because it's all happening with the magic of editing. And you know, in this video I thought, what if I give these people some tips that is gonna help them get better at, you know, getting cinematic shots and stuff like that. But instead I thought, nah, let me give them an actual tool that they can use to get better. And this is not something that you have to spend money on, which is amazing. So to tell you the story, the other day I was watching or rewatching the show Ripley on Netflix. I've seen this show 3 times. It is an amazing freaking show. And what I love about it is that every single shot looks like you can frame it on your wall or actually make copies and sell them. All of the shots, I never seen anything like it. I don't think there is another show that looks so good like this show. Like every shot is a photo that you can frame on your wall. And that made me think, what if I train myself to make every single shot
a frame that I can put on a wall, or at least that I can practice to make every single shot a shot that I could frame on the wall. And then eventually it is just going to be natural. It is going to be a skill that I will have. But you got to do the work. You got to train yourself to train your eye so that you can develop the skill over time. How do you do this? What I'm doing every time I go out and shoot, first of all, if you know me from this channel, you already know that I have shot in that basketball court so many different times. But I'm training myself to go to the same place sometimes and to find different shots, different way to frame shots, different ways to add movement to shots, different ways to make the same spot look different and more interesting. That is actually making me somebody that doesn't even need to have a shot list. Now I am actually somebody that doesn't need to pre-plan too much when it comes to getting the shots I want. But not only that, I am now able to edit things on my mind, which is mind-blowing, because all I need to know is the topic of the video, and I'm already thinking of shot ideas that I could get. And I'm not even writing them down because I already know what I want. Why? Because I'm training myself to do this over and over. Basically, I could compare it to rap. There are some rappers that can, out of nowhere, improvise a whole song. And that song is gonna be hot with really good bars and stuff like that. That makes them dangerous because when they do spend the time to write, it is a freaking problem. I thought that it could be more useful for me to share a thought process that is going to change the way you make videos. And I thought it was more valuable than me giving you random tips. So I think it is much better if you train yourself to shoot in a different way or shoot in a way that is going to develop or further develop your eye for great shots. This is a skill that a lot of photographers have, especially street photographers. You know, these people, a lot of these shooters, they go out there and they don't have a shot list. They go out there and they get the inspiration from their environment. And, you know, the more they do it, the better the photos that they are going to be producing. And a lot of these photographers, they don't have a hard time going out there and getting crazy looking shots. I do follow a lot of YouTube photographers, and one that comes to mind is, I believe his name is James Popsies. I might be destroying his last name or name. I think that's his name. I'm gonna link it in the description below. But every time I look at his photos, holy, it is so mind-blowing that he can take these shots that look so clean. It looks like he photoshops the perfect photo. And I know there's nothing perfect, but if you see his photos are really clean. And dude, he's going out there and he's getting really clean shots. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you have to actually see his channel in order to understand what I'm trying to say. The same with the TV show Ripley. The first time I saw that show, from shot one, you already know that whoever is behind the show, they must have a photographer or a team of photographers behind the whole show. I mean, that's why they call them directors of photography. But I feel in this show, they take it to a whole nother level. So that is what gave me the idea of purposely going out there and getting shots that look like photos. And that is making my shots be so much better. I'm not saying that my shots are incredible, but I'm saying that I'm seeing the improvement and I'm seeing the improvement so quickly, which is amazing. Now I'm able to create color harmony when I'm going out there. So in this shot, for example, I purposely wore the coat that I was wearing on that day, because I knew the color grading I was going to use, there was going to be some green into that black coat. The color LUT that I'm using is called Verrazano. I made it myself, and I have it down below on my website so you can check it out as well. And since I already knew the color grading that I was gonna use in this video, I add the LUT into the camera. That is one reason why I love this camera. I loaded the LUT there so that I can see the final image, or something that looks close to the final image. And I also noticed that the colors of the bricks and then the metal color all together with me in front of the background, it was going to look very good. So I shot with an intention. You know, I look around and I'm looking for where can I frame myself or frame the camera somewhere so that it's going to look somewhat interesting. And I feel that has changed the way I look at my images, and that is translating into the images that you see. And I have seen some compliments from a lot of you guys. So I thought that it was very important for me to share this information with you, because I know that a lot of people already clicked off this video, so they're not really getting this information. But you are here and you are getting this information. And I want you to go out there and be mindful of that, so that when I'm scrolling on YouTube, I probably find your work out there and be like, wow, this is some beautiful work. Probably I could inspire someone to get the shots that they actually desire in their vlogs. You know, I love vlogs, and I'm trying to contribute in this amazing community. A lot of you be making some bangers out there. So I thought it was very important for me to share these thoughts. If you did like this video, make sure you subscribe, like. I'm going to be making more. And if you like the color grading in my videos, make sure you check out my page. It is in the description, cabralcreates.com. And I have a LUT pack there called Empire City LUTs with a lot of unique LUTs in there. It's a LUT pack of 8. It is not that expensive, and you are helping me out to create more videos like this. Let me know what you think in the comments. I like to answer to everybody. Thank you so much for watching all the way here to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.